I don't think so. It's 6:30.
He has a speaking time.
Oh, he does.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sandy Prince, Superintendent, RSU 14. Thank you so much for coming this evening. This is an important event for us. We certainly have worked very hard with the proposed budget, which I will briefly talk about the process of how we develop the budget. But before we get started, I'd like the board members to introduce themselves, and also Jake, if you could introduce yourself. Jake is filling in for Don Davis, and Don is recovering well, and we look forward to having him back at some point in time. So let's start with way at the end down there. Jen?
I'm Jennifer Fleck.
I'm Diana Freuslin from Raymond.
Marge Cavoni.
Jake Clark, I'm the interim business manager.
Kate Briggs.
Jen Moore.
Jerry Keendryer.
And we have Richard Spencer down here in the front, who's our school attorney. So again, thank you very much for coming tonight. This is a public budget meeting, and part of the process that we've been working on is to develop a proposed budget. Briefly, I just want to update that in November and December, the cost center managers, principals, and operations directors come together, and we begin to build a budget for the proposed budget to present to you people this year. In January, after the holidays, we come back, we actually crunch the numbers, and we meet with, Don Davis and myself meet with each cost center manager to fully understand their proposed budget. And that pretty much goes through the month of January. As we get into February, we really refine the budget, and we work very closely in central office on really trying to continue to crunch the numbers and get to a point where we feel we can begin to get hard numbers from Department of Ed, to look at health insurance costs, and really begin to refine the budgets. We meet with Finance Committee throughout the whole year, but typically in February is a big month when the Finance Committee comes together. Late February, we meet with the school board and the administrative team for the board to just get a first glance at what the proposed budget may look like. And that's an opportunity for the board to either raise their eyebrows and say, oh my goodness, administrators, you're out of your mind to have such a budget like that, or it's to confirm, validate that we've done good work and to stay the course. And that's pretty much what we do right before I present the budget to the school committee early March. And then at that point in time, it becomes the school committee's budget, and they, throughout the month of March, have public hearings after each cost center manager presents to the board their proposed budget. So for instance, building principal would go to the school committee and talk about what their budget entails, and at that point in time, we would take public input. So there's been an opportunity for public input along the way, and before you know it, we get into March, and we begin to have the public budget hearing. So a lot of deliberations from the public and from the board, and you probably have received the link that typically this month really just focuses on the proposed budget, and that goes to every household in Windham and Raymond. So at this point in time, if we could stand and do Pledge of Allegiance, and the flag is on the stage. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all. Thank you. At this point in time, I would like to elect a moderator to preside at the meeting. Are there any nominations from the floor?
I nominate Richard Spencer.
Second that.
Are there any other nominations from the floor? I see none, so at this time, I will declare nominations for the moderator to be closed. All those in favor of Richard Spencer for moderator, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Richard Spencer, you are the elected moderator. If I could ask you to come forward, we'll swear you in. please raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you swear to support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Maine, so long as you shall continue to be a citizen thereof and faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent on you as moderator of this budget meeting according to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Maine?
I do.
Thank you. And we should probably do the paperwork and have you sign that. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you all for electing me. For electing me as your moderator. Can you hear me? The first order of business for the meeting should be now to swear in the ballot clerks. So I would ask the ballot clerks to come forward.
You're welcome. Oh, I thought I was following the leader.
So could you please raise your right hands? Do you swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Maine, so long as you shall continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities the duties incumbent on you as ballot clerk of the Regional School Unit Number 14 budget meeting on May 27, 2015, according to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Maine? Thank you. Okay, there are a few preliminaries that I should get out of the way before we get to actually voting on the budget articles. First is, unless there's an objection, I would run the meeting according to the Maine Moderator's Manual, which is prepared by Maine Municipal Association, and it's the rules that are generally used to govern town meetings in Maine. There's only one difference from Maine Moderator's Manual that I would follow, and that is that in a school budget meeting like this, if 10% of the registered voters ask for a written ballot on any article, then we have to vote by written ballot on that article. And it looks to me as if 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, if 2 of you want a written ballot, we'll have to have a written ballot on the various articles. If we get into a very complex and difficult procedural wrangle, and Maine Moderator's Manual doesn't have the answer, I'll look to Robert's Rules of Order to provide the backup. The other thing is that under the rules of the Maine Moderator's Manual, a person cannot speak at the meeting unless they're a resident of the RSU. And the statute allows the superintendent to present the budget. And I believe the acting business manager, Jake Clockadile, is not a resident of the district. So I would ask, and is there anyone else from the administration who you may want to call on or may want to speak who's not a resident of the district? If not, I would ask for a motion to allow Jake Clockadile to speak at the meeting. Is there a second? All in favor? All opposed? It's a vote. Jake Clockadile can speak at the meeting. Do you want to, before we get to the specific articles, do you want to have a presentation of the budget? I think that would be in order now. So, do you want to come up here, Jake? Doesn't matter, wherever you want to do it.
Just right here will be fine. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jerry Keene Dreyer, and I'm the chair of the Finance Committee. But there are other members. Pete is a member, and Diana and Jen Fleck, just so you know who the Finance Committee is. And I want to thank Jake and Cindy for putting together this presentation. Just a general overview of the budget for this year. Double-fisted here. It's going to be interesting. So just to give you an overview, this current budget is $42,052,966. It's up just $965,386 from last year. It's a 2.35 increase. And we as a finance committee and as a board did our very best and worked with the A-team to keep any increases below 3%, and we actually did a very good job of making it much lower than 3%. There are always challenges to creating a budget. It's a very large budget. We have to put placeholders. This year we were very fortunate. We had a placeholder of 12% for health insurance, but the insurance only increased by 2.1%, so that really helped us to keep some of the numbers down. The state of Maine has shifted total of $29 million in retirement costs to local districts. That started last year. So that's requiring us to put $413,000 in our operating budget to cover teacher retirements for 15 and 16 fiscal years. And so the retirement funding alone, because if that's an additional expense, is almost 43% of that 2.5% increase. So if we hadn't had that put on us as a board to add the $413,000, we would have even a smaller increase in terms of our operating budget. So I think, again, we've done a really terrific job in the A-team and the administration. Just to give you a little bit of history about the subsidy, and at the end we'll talk a little bit about how we fund our budget. But we do get a state subsidy that depends on a variety of things for Windham and Raymond. And you can see some years we've had greater increases than others. This year we had a $186,000 increase over last year, so we really couldn't depend on any significant increase in state funding to help to fund this budget. So we knew that it was going to have an impact on taxes for both towns. Just to give you a little budget history, going back to when we were two different systems, Windham and Raymond. If you look over time, we did some significant cutting those first couple of years. It was a very lean time for everybody. We did have some ERA funds, which was the Recovery Act funds. But when we began to add some things into our budgets, you can see they were still relatively small increases. This year, again, 2.35%. Our average has been about 1.16% annually. So again, quite lean and appropriate. Looking at how the RSU compares to the state average, we have numbers for the fiscal year 2013 to 14. And if you look at the bottom total, the RSU actually spends less per pupil than the state average. And so again, we are a very effective and a very efficient system. And I want to say effective is also very much a part of that, but very efficient system. Oftentimes we hear conversation about being top-heavy with administration, and so we actually had a different slide, and Cindy, again, thank you for doing this work of finding some information, pulling out the sort of surrounding towns that are here that we sort of compare ourselves to, and just system administration, which is our central office, is 2.41% of our budget, and if you look at the other towns around us, they spend significantly more on system administration. We use the same, again, thank you, Cindy, for doing the slide. We use the same schools to look at per pupil operating costs, K to 12, and again, I talked earlier in a slide, it's $11,660. But if you look where we are on that list, we are spending much less per pupil than, again, surrounding towns around us. And that's a wide variety of surrounding towns. They're not all of the ones that we think of having, relatively high per pupil costs. So that's another piece. And that's the 2013-14 year. We are proud of our graduation rates. It's something that's been worked on in the high school, although, of course, we start in kindergarten in terms of preparing our students for graduation. We weren't able to take and find and compare ourselves to the surrounding towns. That information isn't available. It's only available for sizes of towns, sizes of schools. So the comparison is of schools of over 1,000 students, but we're very proud and pleased that 92.7% of our students are graduating, and the state average is 86.4%. So we're doing a really good job in getting our students to graduate. Our revenues, where the money comes from, this is, I think, a pretty interesting slide. The olive green is state subsidies. We have our local EPS contribution. It's what the state tells us that we need to raise in taxes to fund our education. Our subsidies, 36%. Some of you know that at one time there was a commitment from the state to cover 55% of education funding. That hasn't happened, and we get well below the 55%. We also, the local additional, which we'll be talking about during the warrant articles, some local additional federal tuition, other sorts of ways that we get revenues. How we allocate our budget: regular instruction, special instruction, CTE is career and tech education, other instruction. So if you look at the blue, the red, the green, and the purple, a significant amount of our budget is spent directly in terms of student instruction, directly on students. Then we have student staff support, administration, buses, facilities. We're very proud of our facilities. Bill Hansen does a really terrific job of keeping our grounds and our buildings beautifully maintained, but it does take a piece of our budget to do that. We like to say we have good value. We have an excellent system. We have wonderful teachers, people who work in our schools. We keep our per pupil costs down, and we have excellent value. Sandy has begun tweeting, so if you're not Twittered with him, you can, and he is great at hopefully blowing our horn about the excellent things that we're doing. For example, our breakfast program has been featured in a variety of places. They've done a great job. So we are really very proud of our schools, and this is only just a small smattering of the kinds of good things that are happening in our schools. This is one stage of our approving the budget here tonight at this public meeting, but we do have to go to the budget validation referendum. It is June 9th. It'll be here at the high school or at Jordan Small Middle School, so please go out and vote. That's really important to do. I will also remind the Raymond residents that there will be something on the ballot regarding whether or not you agree to withdrawing, to continue the process to withdraw from the RSU. So that will be on that ballot as well. So that's just an overview. I want to just remind everybody, if you got your handout outside that shows the warrant articles, just after the warrant articles, there's a piece of paper that shows what cost centers are in which warrant articles. Sometimes that's confusing to people about what fits where. So as the warrant article is read, I will also then read what is included in that warrant article in case there's questions. But we did give you that handout as well. So thank you very much.
If there's no further explanation of the budget, we'll move on to the articles. If you look at the list of articles, you'll see that, or I'd like to at least describe how the warrant is set up. The first 11 articles authorize expenditures by the Board of School Directors in the 11 different cost centers that are established by state statute. And so those first 11 articles authorize the expenditures in those categories. And if you add up the expenditures in all of those 11 articles, the number will come out to be the same as the number in Article 15, which is the summary of the full budget. Articles 12 through 14 are the revenue articles, and they authorize the RSU to raise the funds that the RSU needs to fund the budget. And under state law, Articles 12 and 13 and 15 have to be voted on by a recorded vote. And Article 14 has to be voted on by a written ballot. The rest of the articles can just be voted on by a voice vote. No one actually knows what a recorded vote means. But I interpret it for the purposes of this meeting to mean that the vote itself will be recorded. So if it's 17-3 or 16-4 or whatever that is, for those three articles, we'll record the actual individual voters for and against. On the rest of the articles, there's no requirement for that. So I would move to begin consideration of Article 1. Is there a motion on Article 1?
I move to approve Article 1 in the amount of $16,631,114, I didn't say that right, and 72 cents as written.
And I'd like to just add that regular instruction for this particular article includes regular instruction programs, K-2 instruction programs, other instructional programs, alternative education, English as a second language, and gifted and talented. Just so that's what's in that article.
Is there a second on the motion?
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded on Article 1 to see if Regional School Unit 14 will authorize the expenditure of $16,631,114.72 for regular instruction. Is there any discussion? Yes, sir. That would appear to be in the category of a typographical error. The regular instruction is definitely K-12 instruction, and you are not being asked to raise $16 million for the K-2 program and leave the rest of the school closed. Is there any further discussion of Article 1? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Article 1 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 2?
I move to approve Article 2 in the amount of $6,308,757.46 as written.
I think you need to speak more
Louder?
into the microphone if that's possible.
Can you hear me now? Better? Okay. I'll do it again. I move to approve Article 2 in the amount of $6,308,757.46 as written.
I second the motion.
And Article 2 is for special education, and it's all special education programs.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 2 for special education in the amount of $6,308,757.46. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Article 2? All those opposed? Article 2 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 3?
I move to approve Article 3 in the amount of $480,617.29 as written.
I second it.
And Article 3 is CTE instruction, career and technical ed, student support, career and technical ed instruction, career and technical ed operations and maintenance, and career and technical ed school administration.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve Article 3 for career and technical education in the amount of $480,617.29. Is there any discussion? Yes.
It is separate. Jake, do you?
It would cover any administrative costs that would come from paths in Portland, which is where a number of students go,
And Westbrook.
and also in Westbrook. So it's just a category included under those costs for those students.
Any further discussion on Article 3? Yes, ma'am. Question to anyone on the committee who might answer, what percentage of students are involved in the CTE programs?
It right now, and I can't give you a percent, but it runs somewhere between 70 and 80 students.
Further discussion on Article 3. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Article 3 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Article 3 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 4?
I move to approve Article 4 in the amount of $888,708.58 as written.
I second the motion.
And Article 4 includes other instruction, co-curricular, extracurricular, other instructions programs such as summer school and post-secondary enrollment.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 4 in the amount of $888,708.58. Any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Adult ed would be a whole different warrant
There's
article.
a later article on adult ed. Any further discussion on Article 4? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 4 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 5?
I move to approve Article 5 in the amount of $3,896,401.39 as written.
I second the motion.
And Article 5 is for student and staff support. Student support services include guidance, health, instruction, technology, and other student support services. Staff support services include improvement of instruction, improvement of staff training, library services, and student assessment.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 5 in the amount of $3,896,401.39. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 5 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 6?
I move to approve Article 6 in the amount of $1,065,457.22 as written.
I second the motion.
And that includes the Board of Education, the Superintendent's Office, and Business Office Central Services.
Moved and seconded to approve Article 6 in the amount of $1,065,457.22. Is there any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Hold on, we'll look that up.
$87,207.
He says it's 87,000 and it's on $1 million, so that's about an 8% increase.
Well, I'm not sure I can say where the $87,000 is. It's 8% of that budget, not of the total budget. But to go back to one of the slides that we looked at, we tend to have, in comparison to other districts, the total of our whole budget for administration is 2.4%. So, and others go up to almost 5%. So it's not one of the hugest parts of our budget. I can't say why. Certainly there's, increases in salary and health insurance costs and those things. I don't know where the $87,000 exactly comes from in terms of that.
A large amount of that is in property and liability insurance, which went up significantly. And if I find another one here in a second, I'll let you know.
Any further discussion on Article 6? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 6 say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Article 6 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 7?
I move to approve Article 7 in the amount of $2,392,292.41 as written.
I second the motion.
And Article 7 is for school administration, and that includes all the principal's offices and the copier center.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 7 in the amount of $2,392,292.41. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 7 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 8?
I move to approve Article 8 in the amount of $2,163,032.48 as written.
I second the motion.
And Article 8 is for transportation. That's all student transportation, vehicle operation, student transportation, servicing and maintenance, and career and technical.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 8 in the amount of $2,163,032.48. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Article 8 say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Article 8 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 9?
I move to approve Article 9 in the amount of $5,220,369.84 as written.
I second the motion.
And Article 9 is facilities and maintenance. It includes operation and maintenance, custodial care of building, maintenance of building, environmental hazardous waste, grounds maintenance, capital enhancement and improvement, and capital renewal and renovation.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 9 in the amount of $5,220,369.84. Is there any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Would basically be renovation, upkeep, more than just casual fix-up at places where we might need to do some more major work, but it's not a huge capital expense that's would be considered a renovation.
Further discussion on Article 9? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 9 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 10?
I move to approve Article 10 in the amount of $2,726,216.03 as written.
I second the motion.
Article 10 is debt service and other commitments and includes principal and interest.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 10 in the amount of $2,726,216.03. Is there any discussion? All those opposed say nay. Just waking you up. All those in favor say aye. Article 10 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 11?
I move to approve Article 11 in the amount of $280,000 as written.
I second the motion.
And this is all other expenditures, food service transfer, and budget reserve.
It's been moved to approve Article 11 for all other expenditures in the amount of $280,000. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 11 is approved. Article 12, I hear a motion to waive the reading of Article 12.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, the reading of the article is waived. Is there a motion?
I move to approve Article 12 as written.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 12 with the amounts appropriated and the amounts raised as written in the warrant article. Is there any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. This is one of the articles that has to be voted on by a recorded vote. So I will ask those who are in favor of the article to raise their hands, and I'll ask the ballot clerks to do a count. Or actually, I think I can do the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 in favor. Those opposed? Okay, the recorded vote on Article 12 is 20 in favor and 0 opposed. Is there a motion on Article 13?
I move to approve Article 13 in the amount of $503,875 as written.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Article 13 in the amount of $503,875. And this article is for debt service that's previously been approved by the voters of the RSU, but is not included in the state allocation for debt service because it's not for state-supported school construction projects. Is there any discussion on Article 13? It's for debt service previously approved by the voters on local projects.
When the high school was built, there were certain parts of it, probably a good part of this auditorium, that the state did not participate in. The local voters voted to make a larger auditorium that would fit the student body. And there were 2 or 3 other smaller things in this debt as well.
I couldn't hear the question.
How much longer do we have that debt remaining?
11 years. Could you hear the answer? Any further discussion on Article 13? This is actually debt that you've already borrowed and you're legally obligated to pay. Any further discussion on Article 13? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. It needs to be a recorded vote. All those in favor, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 in favor. All opposed, please raise your hand. Article 13 is approved by a recorded vote of 20 to nothing. Is there a motion on Article 14?
I move to approve Article 14 in the amount of $3,875,594.95 as written.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 14, which is to raise funds, additional local funds above the state's essential programs and services allocation in the amount of $3,875,594.95, which exceeds the state's funding model by $3,092,101.59. Is there any discussion of Article 14? Seeing none, oh, yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I don't have have the total for, as of March 13th, we have 3,182 students, but I don't have last year's numbers handy. I suspect we're just about close to where we were. Sometimes we kind of go up in the summer, and then it might level off during the school year. So enrollment in this district has been maintained for the most part. Kindergarten level, out at RES, at one point we had like 18 students, and then it jumped up to 36 students within 2 weeks. So you never know where these numbers are going to go. I think we'll be close to what typical school year has. We don't see big numbers going up or a lot of numbers going down.
Is there further discussion on Article 14?
As a reminder, 80% of our budget is fixed costs. We're labor intensive, and with health insurance and just opening the doors, it's over $1 million increase every year. I think we do a really good job trying to reduce the budget in certain places that need to be reduced. Certainly vendors, we put things out to bids. We have policies on our bidding process. We scrutinize the budget left and right. The last 10 years have been very difficult with the recession, so it's forced us to be very creative. So before tonight, I think you have a very reasonable budget. Came in at over 4% when I presented it to the board, and we took a couple months to get it down to 2.3%, which is, again, I think is a very reasonable request for the taxpayers.
Further discussion on Article 14? If not, I'll call for a vote, and this vote has to be by a written ballot. Were people given written ballots when they came in? Okay, you have a pink written ballot. Please fill out your ballot and bring it up to the front to the ballot box. I think you should take your own. We disapprove of stuffing the ballot box at this meeting. Has everyone voted? Okay, we'll close the voting and ask the ballot clerks to count the vote on Article 14. Okay, Article 14 is approved by a vote of 19 in favor and 1 opposed. Is there a motion on Article 15?
I move to approve Article 15 in the amount of $42,052,966.42 as written.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve $42,052,966.42 for Article 15. Article 15 summarizes the total school budget and is the sum of Articles 1 through 11. Is there any discussion on Article 15? Seeing none, I'll ask all those in favor to raise their hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I wonder if I missed someone. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, 19 in favor. All those opposed, raise your hand. Okay, Article 15 is approved by a vote of 19 to 0. Is there a motion on Article 16?
I move to approve Article 16 as written.
I second the motion.
Article 16 has been moved and approved as written. Article 16 authorizes the expenditure of grants and other receipts that don't require any funds that have not been appropriated that have not been previously appropriated. Is there any discussion on Article 16? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Article 16 say aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 16 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 17?
I move to approve the Article 17 in the amount of $615,660.96 for adult education and raise $287,675.01 as the local share, and the rest as written.
I second the motion.
Article 17 has been moved and seconded as written with an appropriation of $615,660.96 for adult ed and to raise $287,675.01 as the local share with authority to spend other incidental funds. Is there any discussion on Article 17? Yes, ma'am. The question is, what was the adult ed population for the past year?
I cannot answer that at this time. Sorry about that. I know they have a ton of classes going on.
repeat that?
There's so many varieties of programs, Louise, in adult ed. I mean, there certainly are the kinds of programs that are that are educational. There are those that are for enrichment. So cost per pupil would be very difficult, and even people going for their, it's not even GED, but going for their post-high, getting their, not diploma, but their post-high school. So I don't think we've ever had that presentation of what it is for each particular student, because they do so many different kinds of things. Some of it is outreach and working with students who are looking for jobs, have lost jobs. So it's not all sort of like in a classroom where you could say per pupil. They pay fees for some of the enrichment programs. I don't know for all the others exactly what that is, but definitely for the enrichment programs. I don't have that budget. We don't have the budget in front of us in terms of their revenues, and then where their expenditures are.
Just an observation, the appropriation is for $615,000, and the amount being raised by taxation is a little less than half of that. It's at $287,000, so the balance is probably coming from state adult ed funds. And then the last part of the article authorizes the expenditure of any incidental receipts, which would be the fees that are paid by the students for participation. Is there any further discussion on Article 17? Gentleman in the back.
Just a reminder that all these questions that we have raised now are raised at the cost center presentation that happens in March and April. And I'm sure that the presentation that was given to the board and to the public in general is either available on tape or is available in writing.
Further discussion on Article 17.
Dick, I would just add, I'm sure if Don were sitting here, he would have all of those answers. I'm only 4 weeks in, so a lot of that I have not gotten into.
Mike is right. Those were all brought up at the cost center presentations. I guess I would request for folks and publicize who is going to be at what particular cost center presentation, and all of the questions that you have asked were brought up, the points were brought up at that time. So as Mike said, I'm sure it has to be somewhere, either if you go back online to the cost center presentation, you'll probably find it.
Further discussion on Article 17. Yes, ma'am. Further discussion on Article 17.
Can I just answer her question? I was involved with the Adult Ed Board for a little while. I just wanted to comment that the enrichment programs are all self-sustaining and actually generate funds for the program. The budget is mainly for students who haven't graduated high school who were trying to get to that point where they're graduated.
Further discussion on Article 17. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 17 is approved. Is there a motion on Article 18?
I move to approve Article 18 in the amount of $600,000 as written.
I second the motion.
Moved and seconded on Article 18 to authorize the transfer of $600,000 from unexpended balances at the end of the 2014-15 fiscal year to the School Capital Reserve Fund, and to expend those funds for the purposes stated in the article. Is there any discussion on Article 18? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Article 18 is approved. That concludes the articles. I would first like to thank everybody for coming out to the meeting. You made this very easy. I once went to one of these meetings, and everyone was so mad at the superintendent that there were 3,000 people at the meeting, and they filled up the whole auditorium and the gymnasium, and we had to go to the hardware store and get walkie-talkies to do the meeting. So I'm glad, Sandy, you're not in that position. Also, I'd like to remind everybody that it takes that voting on a school budget is like a double-barreled shotgun. You have to have the budget meeting, and then you have to have a successful vote at a budget validation referendum. That vote will be conducted on June 9th in each town in the RSU. So in Raymond, people will be voting at the Jordan Small Middle School, and in Wyndham, in the main gym here at Wyndham High School. That's on June 9th, and the polls will be open from 7 in the morning until 8 at night. So please remember to vote for that. Yes, sir.
Is there anything in the works to eliminate the budget meeting in the future?
The budget referendum, you mean, or the budget meeting?
The budget meeting tonight.
At the state level, no. At the state level, under the state law, and I'm going to take my moderator's hat off and be the attorney for the RSU for a second. Under the state law, every 3 years you can have a vote to eliminate the referendum, but you can't have a vote to eliminate the meeting. And so it's up to the school board whether to put the vote out to the voters to eliminate the referendum. But as far as I know, there's no effort at the state level to change this process, which is that you have to have the meeting and then the referendum unless the district or the RSU has voted to eliminate the referendum. Yes, ma'am. The articles are should be on the website as part of the warrant, and I think what you're maybe asking is, will the minutes of the meeting? At the referendum, between now and the referendum, the superintendent is required to fill out a sheet saying what amounts were approved at this meeting that will be posted at the polls. And I don't know whether that will be posted on the website. I would expect it would be. Is there a question? Is there an answer to the question whether the amounts approved at this meeting will be posted on the website?
Probably attached to the agenda, which is on the website. So I'm sure it's on there now. And looking at Cindy, and she's shaking her head. So, but we'll double check just to make sure.
So I know how much you're all enjoying this meeting, but if a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second that.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The meeting is adjourned.